containing strong language, the inside story of a supergrass.
Last year, Supergrass Darren Nichols agreed to take part in an inside story about the murder of 3 Essex drug dealers. But on the night of the intended broadcast, Nichols, fearing he might be recognised, obtained an injunction to stop the programme being transmitted. A High Court judge overruled the injunction and agreed with the BBC that Nichols could not be identified from the film. However, the Court of Appeal later agreed with Nichols and reversed this decision. The film you're about to see is identical to the original, except that actors now play the parts and speak the words of Darren Nichols and his wife.
People I aimed to stitch up because I thought they was going to kill me. I stitched them up. I put them away. I'm Charlie with Taters, at Supergrasses in a minute. Out of all the ones in the system, I'm the tops. I'm considered to be a major witness, and the police really do feel that everybody wants me dead.
Police have launched a murder inquiry after 3 men were found shot dead in Essex. A farmer discovered the bodies this morning in a Range Rover parked on a farm track near Chelmsford.
There are 3 men dead in a Range Rover. It is horrendous.
The 3 dead men were known criminals. Patrick Tate, Craig Rolfe and Anthony Tucker. All 3 had convictions from drug dealing to armed robbery.
3 men assassinated with pump-action shotguns, each murdered in cold blood with bullet wounds to the head.
This was drugs-related, and it was a professional job. The latest narcotics-linked crime in Essex, in a county which has become high-profile in the ruthless world of drug trafficking.
This lane, as you can see, is isolated. It's more or less hidden totally from any other houses. It's in rural countryside. And you've got to imagine this lane would have been pitch black.
On December the 7th, 1995, Detective Superintendent Ivan Dibley was called to the scene of a murder. Drug dealers Pat Tate, Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe had been executed in a Range Rover at the end of this farm track in Rettendon, Essex.
The weather conditions were changing and I could see the frost was lifting, and with that, clearly the evidence was melting before our eyes. But more importantly than that, I was thinking, you know, where do we start? Here we have 3 men, probably the most serious murder that Essex has ever had, in the middle of nowhere, with what chance of finding a witness? I could see this blue Range Rover. It was parked just a few yards ahead of where we are now, and it was quite misted up inside the Range Rover. The windows were misted, and the reason for that, I think, was because it was a very cold day. The warmth of the bodies of these 3 men was actually creating a sort of a misty atmosphere in the car, which was a little bit bizarre. And I could see in the Range Rover, Rolfe was sitting at the driver's wheel, holding the steering wheel. He actually had his foot on the brake and looked to all intents and purposes as if he was waiting at red traffic lights before proceeding again. I walked round the Range Rover, and in the front passenger seat there was a second person dead, who I now know to be Tucker. He also had been killed very quickly and was taken by surprise. I then moved to the back of the car, and in the rear passenger seat, literally laying back with his head against the window, which was smashed, was Tate. We decided that we would remove this Range Rover, lock, stock and barrel, on the back of a low loader and take it somewhere that was dry and safe before attempting to take the bodies from the car.
The police had no leads, but 6 months later, the killer's getaway driver, Darren Nichols, decided to turn Supergrass Nichols is now in hiding with a new name under police protection.
On the night of the murder, I presumed I was just a driver for a drug deal. I was driving Jack to the lane where Mick would turn up with the others in a Range Rover. And when they completed their deal, I picked a pair of them up. When I was phoned up to come back and pick them up, I just drove into the lane, turned the car around, faced it back towards the road. Jack got in the car and sat in the back. And then all of a sudden, the door opened, Mick got in. The interior light came on, and I was talking to Jack. And at that moment, I noticed Jack had white gloves on, covered with blood. And Mick said, "Come on, get going." I started to pull away, and Mick started passing, like, the barrels of the gun over to Jack. And I was thinking, fucking hell, what's gone on here? Mick said, "They won't fuck with us again." And I realised that something had happened. Obviously, I think I knew that someone had been killed. I don't really remember a lot about the journey. The journey, as far as I'm concerned, passed in 2 seconds, you know? It was probably half an hour, but it passed in 2 seconds. Don't really recall a lot of it. I just couldn't comprehend what had been done. Apparently their faces were just hanging off their heads. Just tried to forget it. Just went into the pub, drank a severe amount of drink, went home, went to bed, got up, went to work, and I suppose I was trying to forget about it. But there was no way.
Tonight, the men who gunned down 3 drugs dealers in cold blood are behind bars.
Michael Steele, who dubbed himself the Angel of Death, was given 3 life sentences. He's said to have laughed uncontrollably after killing the men. Also given the same sentence, Jack Womes, his right-hand man. The pair were trapped by Darren Nichols, the driver of the killer's getaway car, who turned supergrass.
Darren Nichols spent a year on remand while waiting to give evidence at the trial. It was his testimony at the Old Bailey that clinched the case against his friends Mick Steele and Jack Womes.
At the trial, I tried not to look at Womes and Steele. They scared me. You know, because what I'm doing to them. And I know how much they hate me. I don't think I'll ever be rid of them. Mick Steele, because he's quite old, and hopefully he'll die in prison. And Jack, hopefully, when he gets out, he'll be older and wiser, and just gets on with his life, rather than trying to avenge me. Probably his family I'm more worried about than him.
If this justice, what happened beyond reasonable doubt, I reckon go like that, because that's to save the trial with Jack Womes and Michael Steele. What's that say? And then this one starts off with a bit of the judge's summing up. You know, where it says there is no forensic evidence, nothing connected with the scene. The whole case hinges on the evidence of one man, Darren Nichols.
The family of Jack Womes, one of the convicted killers, are mounting a campaign to prove his innocence. They're waiting for leave to appeal against his conviction.
We all had those sort of schoolmates at school that used to sit and tell porkies all the time, and we used to get fed up with them after a while, you know. And that's a Darren, you know.
Like the police admit, without Darren Nichols, there's nothing, because there's no forensic, nothing to connect him with the murder, and that was all seen in court. But because Darren Nichols say that he was the driver, the jury believed that he was the driver, and therefore convicted my brother of triple murder.
Darren knows what to do. Darren knows what to do. We haven't got to keep telling him. No one's got to keep telling him. Darren knows what to do.
My brother Bubsy, Jack, he said he called Darren a liar. He said, "You liar," and cocky Darren went, "Am I?" Like that. How many times did he change his statement for the murder?
20 odd
26 times.
28 statements in full.
Because he didn't know if they had Wellingtons on, then it went from boots to Wellingtons, didn't it?
Yeah.
Overalls to tracksuit bottoms. And
if it was straightforward and he just all of a sudden confessed to this Darren Nichols, why did he have all the luxuries in his cell when he's on remand? There was us behind glass on our visits to my son. He had a cell with a luxury proper bed in it, for starters, computer, a desk, a Game Boy thing to play on, a multi-gym. He had so much stuff in it to give him home comforts that they couldn't shut the cell door.
In a sense, I feel sorry for the man, because obviously he's messed up his life as well, hasn't he? He's got to live, well, scared for the rest of his life, so they say in the paper, but he ain't got to be scared of us, because like I say, we don't want nothing to happen to him, because I'm hoping, personally, that one day he will come forward.
Darren Nichols, we need alive. We need alive. And if you come face to face when someone was going to kill Darren Nichols, you'd have to protect him. We'd have to protect him. Because we need him alive. Because it is the only evidence. The only evidence there is.
If they go to another appeal and their appeal gets squashed, I'm particularly worried about the Williams family. No one likes the truth, especially the families of the people that did it. So it's something they've got to come to terms with, not me.
A number of people are saying that the story given by Darren Nichols was made up, and clearly some people have a vested interest in breaking his story down to be a tissue of lies. It would be almost impossible for somebody like Darren Nichols to actually make up the detail that he gave in court. He told the truth as he saw it on what had occurred at Rattenden that night.
Hello? Oh, is that you, Bub? You alright?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah, what have you been up to? Anything today? Not working?
Huh?
You're not working today?
No, I wish I was.
I will send you them photos, Babs, that I said about.
Jack Williams speaks to his mother Pam from Whitemoor Prison in Cambridgeshire.
We're doing all we can to get you out, aren't we? Aye. So...
It's just convincing these judges, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just kept changing from day to day. It weren't like, 1 month of that charge and another month of that charge.
No.
It was just all over the show.
Yeah.
And I hope we ain't going to get into this appeal court and get the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
I hope it's going to
I hope so.
Concentrate on the issue.
Yeah.
Why? The motive is the main thing. Can I hear you, Mum? You there?
Yeah.
Oh, what you...
I was listening to you. I was letting you let off steam. We're trying to get your innocence over, Babs. You know what I mean? If you can... Well, I know you can't. We've all racked our brains and that, but...
I've said it enough times, haven't I?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to keep going on about it.
No. I don't let you get you down.
Well, I don't.
Aye.
Yeah.
You know? And that. Better change the subject or ring off. How many phone cards you got there? Babs, you alright? Oh what? Alright, Babs. Phone me back at 2 o'clock, alright? Don't get upset, Babs. We'll help you. We'll get you out. Babs.
You upset today, Mum?
Doesn't matter who the mother is, they always love their offspring dearly and would go to extraordinary lengths to try and help them out of a difficult situation. And I think Mrs. Williams is no different to any other mother faced with this, and she's trying desperately hard to help her son, and I think it would help her considerably if he told her the truth.
We'll get him out. Main thing. Go look.
I hate it.
Some
days he's all right, and then some days he ain't. I can't cope with it. I make out that I do. I mean, I try not to let him know. You know what I mean? That no, I don't know what I'm talking about now. It just does me up. I'll be all right in a minute. I'll pull myself together and I'll have me fighting irons on again, I reckon. But he just throws me.
In 1992, Darren Nichols was sentenced to 3 years in prison for dealing in counterfeit money. Whilst at the Hoseley Bay prison in Suffolk, he met Mick Steele, who was coming to the end of a 9-year stretch for smuggling cannabis.
When I got out of prison, I didn't expect to hear from anyone again. And when I did hear, it was Mick Steele. Someone he wanted to smuggle with him was locked up. And I think he needed someone else, and he asked me. The bloke was absolutely brilliant. I mean, everything he did. I mean, like an engineer. He was a brilliant engineer. I mean, I couldn't understand really why he broke the law. And when I first agreed to smuggle, I didn't give it a second thought whatsoever. I just did it, because he asked me to.
Also at Hoseley Bay Prison,